Politics is typically regarded as a space for politically inclined persons interested in leadership roles, but many young people are often disregarded due to a lack of experience and the finance to back up their ambitions, especially in a country like Nigeria. The 2023 election is less than a year away, and many young people are beginning to show their interest to occupy various positions to ensure that they are heard. While young people are seen as the leaders of tomorrow, the need to enhance the participation of youths in political and decision-making process has become more urgent now than ever. That'll be the crux of what we'll be talking about next. And joining me in the studio to discuss this is Public Affairs Analyst ABAYOMI OKE-ASIWAJU. It's nice to have you join me.
Good morning, Mike.
Great, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Great. And I also have with me in the studio a young politician, Israel OLUWANIYI. It's nice to have you join me.
Good morning, sir.
Great. Thank you. Right. All right, we have our guest join us, another guest joining us on Skype soon. But let's start from the studio. ASIWAJU, let me start with you on this.
Okay.
Let me start from, I was discussing with someone recently.
Okay.
And he said that the nomination forms, where everything starts from, the way where it is pegged, it looks like some people are deliberately shut out. Would you see it that way? Because someone else said that, well, it's just a way of sieving those who are serious from those who are not serious.
No. You see, I think I've been here before to discuss something similar.
Exactly.
And I must acknowledge the fact that we still seem to pay lip service to the issue of encouraging youth to participate in politics. I have run for election before in 2019, and I know how difficult it was for me to raise even 50% of the nomination form.
Wow.
Then, as a youth, yes, they said my party gave me 50%, discount. Now that people are now made to pay this bogus amount, I wonder, even with the 50%, quite a number of young people cannot raise this money, especially those with legitimate business.
Okay.
Especially those who have the right attitude that is needed for the position to occupy, those ones who have the right capacity, and even the experience that is needed. Yeah. They can't possibly raise that money, that kind of cash by themselves. So for me, I see it as a deliberate way of saying, well, we have said you are not too young to run, but tactically or systematically, we would not allow you to even jog, let alone run.
Okay. ASIWAJU. All right. Now, Israel, let me come to you on this. Now, the point there is you have been in politics engaging with people at the grassroots and all of that. Sure. Now, from the perspective of youths who are the most, because if you look at what charges the system, it is the energy of the youth that charges the system, and all of that. When it comes to all of you being involved, how conscious are all of you youth together, knowing that we have the energy, we have the power, we are the lifeline of the political process? How conscious are all youths in coming together to ensure and saying that it is our time to be very involved in this process?
Yeah, actually, the youth are very, very conscious at this moment due to the fact that the occurrence that happened last, which is the HENSAS, that makes the youth comes together and look at it. Okay, the people that are in the government are not looking at their side in any way. They're not eating to their voices. The youth voice are not heard around. So the youth have now been like, okay, we have to come together. We have to nominate somebody. We have the strength, we have the capacity to do things. So we have been effective and we have the enthusiasm to do one or two things or the other. So we youth coming together as makes us strong. But if you look at it nowadays if you look at our youth side now, youth are being strong such that on social media, even on normal ground, the way they do their things, they're like, okay, we want youth now. We don't want
But the point there is that the voice of we want youth now, we see it resonate here and there.
Yeah, sure.
But it is not in the talk.
Sure.
Right? It is the issue of, okay, you are one voice there, He's another voice there. She's another voice there. How are you coming together to put all of that voice together into action so that if someone knows that you guys are serious?
So actually, we are coming together such that we the youth have some in my area now. We have some platforms that we come together. So we come as one, and we be like, okay, in this my area, okay, who has the voice, who has the strength, who can talk, who is bold to face the crowd, who is ready to work. So as a youth, I believe that we should come together. If youth in a particular area or a direction comes together, we can actually get things done in the right way in a particular community or area.
All right. One would say it goes past beyond the issue of who has the guts and courage to speak and address the crowd. But I'll come back to this. Now, I have joining me on Zoom from Abuja, AZEEZAT YISHAWU, the Speaker of Nigerian Youth Parliament. AZEEZAT, it's good to have you join me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
Great.
good to be here.
Now, I'd like you to speak to us regarding this issue. When it comes to youth involvement and inclusion, we have said this almost 2 billion times. At different times, we have made this, and it's becoming a cliche now where the efficacy of that line, of that statement, is losing its strength. But how do youth actually, in practical terms, come together to speak in one voice? Because for the politicians, they have the platform of, when they want to come together, they know how to come together, they know when to come together, they know where to come together and speak for them to understand. But for the youth, it's saying everyone is just here. You are there, I'm here, everybody's just all over the place.
Yes, thank you very much. And to put it out straight as well, when young people want to come together, they know how to come together, they know where to come together, and they know how to push their voice out. I think the problem is that there is a gap in understanding the political space, especially in our country, Nigeria. And that is what young people across all board, whether in political parties, whether outside political parties, civic organizations, are yet to understand how to put their resources together, how to come together without necessarily maligning or disregarding one another to push a singular agenda, which is the fact that we want young people to be included in government and leadership process and political process as well. So for practical ways, I would try to bring it close to what we have at hand right now. We are coming towards an election. A lot of young people want to contest in political positions, and a lot of young people need voters to in order to win their election as well. You mentioned something earlier that young people, we are the lifeline of political process. We have the power and all that. And the problem there is that we are yet to convert our potential to a commodity that can put a young person in office. Recently, the National Assembly passed assented to the individual candidacy, and then we are hoping that other states can then start adopting, and then we can have individual candidacy as an option for young people. So if there are a large number of young people in the country who are above the age of 18, who can vote, who can take the first step of democracy to decide the leaders, then when young people occupy any political party, we don't want to know whether it's the major political party or the less recognized political party. Such individuals or young people should be able to tap into the resources of young people who are able to vote. But the problem there is that young people who are eligible to vote are not voting for one reason or the other. We could discuss this later on as well. So when we're talking about practical ways in which young people can participate, there is already a constitution that allows us to. We've done the Not Too Young to Run. We have a Not Too Young to Run Act has reduced the age. Young people who truly want to see young people in political office should be able to vote on election. They should be able to go through the rigorous process, whether it is against us or for us, to get their PVC and come out on that day to vote for those young people that they found to be credible and capable of occupying political position. Because last year we had, last election, we had a good number of young people who even occupied, some of the mainstream political position that were not even necessarily able to win their election as well, because the community whom they represent did not actively participate in the voting process. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, ASIWAJU, let me come to you on this. The point there is, in politics, one would say that experience, you can't take it away. When you want to lead, experience is very crucial. Now, in comparative terms, experience is one thing that so many youths don't have yet, especially when it comes to mainstream politics. Now, how do we balance this call for, give the youths the chance to, run an inclusive system where youths, are also decision takers or decision makers in the leadership process, and then the experience they don't have?
You see, I think if we want to be sincere with ourselves, if at 45, for example, I occupy a political office, I think if I'm being sincere with myself and I want the next generation to, to come up just like I have risen, I should pick somebody who is active, who appear to be serious, in the political space as my aide, probably 29, 30. Then I use that opportunity to groom that person, make that person acquire the experience that he or she needs at a particular time, so that when it comes to election cycle like this, that person can also come out and say, oh, I have garnered an experience while serving as an aide to Honorable so. And I think at this stage, I am competent enough to say, okay, I want to run for this office. And of course, that will just present itself and it will work out. But what we have nowadays is that even those who had the opportunity as young people to get into office are not even ready to mentor or raise other young people there. They just want to remain in that office and possibly, keep submitting their loyalty to those that are even older than them. They are not giving younger people opportunity. Just recently, a man named Honorable Akilade made me his director of media for his campaign. And people were like, ASIWAJU, why have you dumped your own ambition? We expect you to run. I said, you expect me to run? But the last time that I mobilized you people to get voters card, on the day of election, you did not come out to vote. Rather, you went to use that voters card for banking transactions. On the day of election, I did not see you. So that's why I agree with AZEEZAT, that young people, when we need them to participate fully in electioneering process, they don't tend to come out. They don't tend to engage fully in it. But you see the noise, you see the activity on social media as if that is where the polling booths are. So I'm challenging young people, if you want to see the change that you crave for, you have to stand for the right thing. You have to come out and get involved fully and let people see that you are serious, that you can be depended on, that you are reliable, that somebody can even say, okay, let me use you as an aide. If this man did not find me worthy to occupy that office, he wouldn't have picked me. You don't understand? So you must also present yourself as somebody that is willing to participate in the electioneering process, to also participate in governance, because ultimately that's what we want to do. It's not just about politics, it's about governance. It's about creating the change that you so much desire when you get into office. All right, politics is just the vehicle to getting into good governance. Now, Israel, the point there is we see a lot of young people. It's good to be ambitious. In fact, ambition and dream is a beautiful thing because it gives you a picture of how things can be. However, there is the talk about young people sometimes, instead of starting from somewhere, the ambition drives them to want to go to the top first. You've seen somebody who has never contested at the council or local government state level wants to become president.
Actually, from what he said, I want to go against some things he said about the youth not being active or not coming outside in the day of election. See, something about we youth is that we believe that all our politicians, once they make us as a tools during the time of election. So after election, they dump us.
That is for those who want to be used as
sure. But actually, the issue we are having as youth now is that if our politicians can support, now you're talking from a grassroots. Actually, I'm from the grassroots, in which I believe that, okay, the chairman of my local government is like, okay, let me mentor this boy.
But he would have seen capacity in you before he...
Sure.
Like it's just like what ASIWAJU has said.
Sure.
The point there is, nobody is going to say, go to a school, pick somebody because I like your face, because you're fair, you're dark, or because you're tall, you're handsome or you're beautiful. So come and be this. You must have, develop some or let somebody know that you have some level of capacity, even at your own grassroots level. All the youths didn't come to say, okay, fine, Israel, you are handsome and so let's give you this. They must have seen something in you.
Yeah, sure.
That's what we're saying.
Now, actually, the zeal that youth don't have is that they believe, because I came in contact with some youth and I relate more with youth. So anytime I'm talking about politics, what they will tell me is that they believe that even though they want to show the capacity, they believe that they are going nowhere.
Why?
Because they believe that politics is fixed.
Or maybe because they haven't discovered the power they have.
Because I believe that, okay, as a young politician now, okay, I'm into politics. I've not gotten anywhere yet. But the way I'm doing my things makes me know that, and having the zeal for it makes me know that sooner or later I'll get what I should get. But the young people believe it's not everybody that has the ability or the enthusiasm that, okay, let me go forward or press forward for this. Because they believe that, because in my own community now, I sit down youth that, okay, you guys, what can we do to make this area to be good? So they'll be like, see, the government we have now is like, we can't do that.
It's okay. I'll come back to this because it looks like some of the youths are losing faith in the fact that we can, can kind of spirit. Let me go to AZEEZAT in here. Now, we've been talking about the force and the capacity that young people have. If we have to start harnessing that, but because you are a good example of channeling the capacity, the potentials of young people into what you are as a speaker of the youth parliament. Now, how do we create opportunities like this for young people to also express themselves and begin to bring out that potential that they all have?
Yes, thank you very much. To start with, as a matter of information, I think that the Nigerian Youth Parliament is a platform by the government, managed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport, and it was a policy that was adopted in 2007 by the then President Umar Musa Yar'Adua as a member to the United Nations, to adopt this policy that member countries would have a platform to train and engage young people in legislative and political process. And we have state adoption in over 15 states in Nigeria as well. We are hoping to push further for other states to also have. We also have some states who has adopted a local government. So we have state parliament, then we have a local government parliament. This is just a structure, one of the structure to help to engage, train, mentor, and put through young persons towards legislative and political process. So after going to the Nigerian parliament or any of the parliament is available, you are exposed to some of those skills that is required of you to participate fully. And we have our previous members go on to be governors of their state. Some of them are members of House of Representatives as at right now. Some of them have gone on to be speakers. Immediately they left the parliament to run for elections and become members of their House of Assembly, and then go on to become speakers of their House of Assemblies as well. So this, I'll agree with previous speakers that we need an environment that naturally, whether directly or indirectly, nurture young people for the skills that they require to apply themselves as time goes on. One of the challenges even when I speak to our leaders, is that you expect so much from young people, but when you look around, there is no deliberate effort to ensure that as a young person, whether you are going through primary school, secondary school, university, vocational training, or whatever aspect of your useful life, that you are exposed to those necessary skills, those necessary support that would put you in that place to apply yourself appropriately, especially when you are going towards a leadership position. So it is quite difficult, because I when I speak to a lot of young people, I said, you mentioned something about young people being ambitious. Yes, that is part of the characteristics of young people. Because we are young, we have time, we have energy. You understand? We are optimistic, so we hope for more, we wish for more. The problem there is that the process of acquiring the skills and expertise for us to be able to occupy and do well in the position that we want is what our environment, you understand, is not providing for us. That is why you see some young people leaving the country to other countries for greener pastures, not only for the money, because the environment itself provides opportunity for you to upskill yourself and develop yourself as a young person. So in terms of what we can do as a whole as young people is that there are several ways in which young people can engage government. Participate, voting during election, contesting during election is also part of the ways. And then applying ourselves to constitutions to monitor and evaluate the impact of government activities, to reject ideas that we do not want, and to also, participate in the constitutional process in terms of policy implementation, policy adoption, and all. Is one of the ways that young people can participate.
All right.
But for me, singularly, let me run. For me, singularly, having participated or being the speaker for the Nigerian Youth Parliament, I'm directly in charge of 109 young people, of which in my parliament I have some young people who are vying for political office, and we are trying our best at the level of the parliament to engage stakeholders in political parties on how they can restructure their party to support young people who are trying to, vie for political office or contest in election.
All right. Thank you very much, AZEEZAT YISHAWU. Dr. AZEEZAT YISHAWU, I have to be very emphatic about that. Thank you very much, Speaker of Nigeria Youth Parliament. Thank you for speaking to us and talking to us on this issue. Unfortunately, we don't have all the time. ASIWAJU, I know you had some things to say, but we have to wrap up here. ASIWAJU, okay. ABAYOMI, okay, ASIWAJU, thank you so much for coming on the program.
All right, no problem.
And Israel OLUWANIYI, sorry, thank you very much for coming as well. And we wish you well what you're doing at the grassroots.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.